Hello, welcome to another part. I think we only have 2 more left, so we'll do this one. And this is where we're going to make the inserts for our pockets and whatnot. And then the next one we will do the decorating of the book cover and the box. So let's get right to this. When I am making pockets, I generally like to have a scrap piece of paper, a pencil, and a ruler so that I can measure and write down. And the reason I always have a scrap piece of paper is because I tend to forget my measurements very quickly. So first, I'm going to go to this little guy right here because it's a set thing, and I'm just going to make an insert for it. And the way that I do that is I just stick my ruler in there all the way down, and it helps if we stick it in the right way, I guess. Stick it in there, and I'm gonna be at 9. Okay, so we're gonna go 9. It's 9 by 4, but we don't want it to be quite 4 because we want it to slide in and out easily. So let's go 9 by 3 3/4. 3 3/4 by 9. Okay, and I think for this one I'm just going to make a simple little insert, but I'm not going to make it from pattern paper. I'm going to make it from pattern paper, not plain paper. And the reason I'm doing that is because I don't want to add too much bulk, so if I make it from plain paper and then mat it, I'm already adding more bulk, and then once I put a picture on it, it's going to be too bulky in there. So we'll just stick with pattern paper, and I'm going to use 2 different pieces, and then I'm going to glue them together. So the first thing I need to do is cut them down to size. I'm going to cut this to 9. Actually, I think what I'll do is I will adhere them together first. And I'm even going to get a little more creative, and I'm going to add a teeny bit of bulk here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a slit in the top here on this one so that it will be kind of like a hidden pocket. And I believe I learned that from what's her name? I learned it from Kathy Orda. So to make that right, what I want to do is cut this to 3 3/4, just like that. And then I'm going to cut this one to 3 3/4 as well. There we go. And while I'm at it, I may as well cut it down to 10 or 9, sorry. Okay, just like that. So then I want to take this piece here, and I'm gonna center my ruler on there towards the top. Okay, then I'm going to make a little mark here and a little mark here, and that's how wide I'm going to make my cut. Just like that. Okay, Then I need that's not good. Here it is, and I'll just use this because it's out. Just like that. Okay. Now we have a nice little opening there. Okay, and that's perfect. So what I'm going to do is just erase all of my lines there, and it's kind of hidden. Okay, so what we want to do now is apply adhesive so that this can remain a pocket. To do so, we want to apply adhesive to above the line, and I like to apply it above the line, directly above the line, so that that's stuck, and then right at the edge there too. And then we want to apply it at the edge here, at the bottom edge. And also, a lot of people, when they make pockets, they don't like to use this kind of adhesive. They like to use a wet adhesive. I really don't like using wet adhesive unless I absolutely have to, because I hate that it warps the paper. But, and I don't have a problem with my tag sticking a little bit. I never had an issue with it. I just gotta tug a little bit harder to get it out, but it's never bothered me to the point where I would not use the dry adhesive because I like it better. So you use your preference, do what you want to do and what you like. But just know that if you use this adhesive, because it doesn't dry, there's a possibility, it always remains tacky, so there's a possibility that if you put your tags down in too far, you could stick them into the adhesive and then you'd have a harder time pulling them out. Okay? So always keep that in mind. So now I have that, and I'm going to go ahead and round these corners. Okay, and then I need to make a tag to insert into there. So I know we made this. That's not helpful. We made that about 3 inches by, let's go, 7. Let's go 7 3/4. So I'm going to take one of these. We're going to cut it to 3 inches, and I'm just going to use this because I want it to be I just want it to be for writing on. Maybe I'll stamp it or something. And I am also going to round these the same way. And then I'm just going to have a little something blocking it. Okay, so 3 inches, just a little too snug. So I'm just going to go to 2 7/8. Just cut off a little tiny bit around the edge because it makes it a little bit easier to get into, and it matches then. And once you put them in and out a couple of times, it will go in easier. your first couple of times putting it in is going to be a little bit tricky. Sometimes when I don't get free movement with my paper, I just kind of stick my ruler in there and it kind of helps to loosen it up a little bit. Okay. I think what I want to do is I want to also, I don't want to lose my paper in there. So I'm wondering if, there we go, I left it sticking out a little bit. So I cut it, I left it to 8.5 and it's sticking out a little so I can pull it out easily. So I'm just gonna leave it that size and round those corners. And then if you want it to go in and out a little bit easier, what you could also do is make it a little bit stiffer, make it 2 pieces so that it goes in there, but then you're gonna add extra bulk too. So remember that, because it's fitting in an envelope. You don't want to add too much bulk, so you might want to just play with it and try to work it so that it works this way. So there is our insert number 1 with an extra insert in it. And also remember when you do this that you can't have it stick over the edge of this because it is the exact size of our envelope. Okay, so we have that. Let's put it in our envelope here. Close that. Voila. Then we have another one here. And on this one, we have 6, so let's go 5 3/4 by 9 again. And I think we'll make this one a card. So we need 2 pieces of paper. And we said 5 3/4, so for our back one, we're going to cut it 1/2 inch bigger than 5 3/4. So I'm going to put this in here to 5 3/4, and then move it to 6 1/4, just like that. And I'll show you why we did that in a minute. And then the top one we're going to cut to 5 3/4. Now this envelope is a little bit bigger, so we have a little more room to play with. Okay, whoops, forgot one tiny step. We have to cut these down to 9. At 9. All right. Now we need our scoreboard, and we're going to put we're going to put the larger one, the one that's 6 3/4 or 6 1/4 at the top, and we're going to score it at 5 3/4. Okay. If you have 12 by 12 paper, you could probably do this without doing this step, but I don't have 12 by 12 paper, so I'm making do. I'm just gonna fold that piece, and then we take this piece and we're going to attach it. Actually, I think we should attach it. No, we'll attach it to the outside. Okay, I'm gonna open that up. I'm going to apply adhesive to the edge, right to the edge of that. And then I'm going to find this side and I'm going to apply adhesive right to the edge of that. And then I'm going to line them up. If it works better for you, put it on a grid mat and then you'll be able to line it up a little bit easier. I'm lining it up just on this side of my score mark. Oops, how'd that happen? Interesting. It must have moved on the board somehow. Oh, that's very interesting. Somehow I cut it crooked. You can enter. Oh no. Hey Billy. I didn't cut it crooked, I lined it up poorly. Hence the not having a score mark or a grid mat. Okay. What we're gonna do is just line it up like that. I'm lining it up with the bottom of my paper instead of with my... I must have cut this one really bad because it's not lining up no matter how I do it. Okay, let's do it this way. I'm going to line it up with the edge here. And then press it into there. And there we go. And then I'm just going to remove a little off this bottom because for some reason it messed up, the cut messed up and I did a bad cut job on it. Not sure what happened there, but it's easily remedied just like so. So there we have our card. We're going to really set that in there since I pulled it off a couple of times. And then, if you want to, it would be good to mat it. I'm just going to remove a little overlap that I ended up having here. There. Just a little bit of cosmetic surgery to that card. Turned out to be a little harder than necessary. Okay, so now we have the card, the inside of the card, and the back side. Sometimes I prefer to have the extra flap on the outside of the card, but that's really a matter of preference, so it's up to you, whatever you want to do. I'm just going to leave it like that because that's how it lines up, and because I had so many troubles already, just going to leave it. Alright. So we have that now, and now we're going to remeasure because we don't know what size it ended up. It's 5 3/4 by almost 9. So if we want to mat it, we need to make it, and I'm thinking maybe for the cover of this we should do the same thing we did on the other one. Or maybe not, because we don't want them to all be the same, do we? Nah, we'll just leave this one. We'll just mat it and call it good. question is, what should we mat it with? Here we go. We'll use this one. Perfect. So it's 5 3/4. I'm going to cut it to 5 1/2 by 9 3/4. 5 1/2 by 9. Oh no, wait, by 8 3/4. There we go. So that's our cover. That's the front side. And actually, I think I want to round these edges. I'm going to round them with the bigger one. And I'm going to round these sides. I think rounding the corners just kind of softens it up a little bit, and since we're using such a softened paper, we want it to be a little bit softer. So I like that. And then there's lines to write on. That looks good. So let's go ahead . That down just like, whoops, whatever. Okay, so there's that. Now you can mat the whole thing. I'm just gonna go ahead and mat the cover, which should have been the back, but oh well. I'm just going to mat that one. You know what, for now I'm just going to leave that because I don't know what I want to do with it. Well, maybe I'll mat the inside too, with the other side of that piece of paper. Yeah, and then there's room for a big picture and then some journaling next to it and another large picture if they want to. Alright, so let's get this one down then. We need 5 1/2 by 8 3/4. And then we need to also round the corners on that one. Okay. Then we'll put that on the inside. And I don't know, chances are I'll probably come back and mat it. But sometimes if I want to use a big photo, then I feel like matting it was pointless because then the photo is still matted with the cream colored. So if I want to put a big, huge, photo there, I could. I could put a 5 by 9 photo right there if I wanted to, and it would look kind of cool. So I think I'm just going to leave that just like that for now. And then we'll put it in there. Because like I said, when we're putting them in an envelope, we don't want to add a whole ton of bulk. Come on, get in there. Must be on the top then. What's stopping you here? There we go. And then wrap that back up. Call that done. I think I should do that right inside there. I keep looking at the gap that I have and thinking I want to put something there, but I don't know what. I think that'll work good. Or not, I don't know yet. Okay, so we have that one done, and now we have one more that is set. We have to do these two. And I'm thinking for this one, I will do a none of those are going to work for that. So I think what I'll do is I really like this piece, so I want to use the whole thing. That fits in there perfectly. Let's see how big it is. Maybe we can just fold it over. Oh, excellent. So if this is still 12 by 12, or 12 inches, yep it is. Perfect. So all I have to do is score this one at 6 inches, just like that. Fold it in half, like so. Just like that. And then I'm going to stick it together. And I'm going to put a bunch of adhesive there because I'm going to give this one a fancy cut. So there we have that. Now what I'm going to do is get my decorative edger. I'll go with my favorite one for right now. We'll do this. Stick it in there. Center it. Of course, it's going to be a little harder to punch because it's 2 layers, and of course we got some adhesive there, but that seems to have worked. Perfect. There we go. Excellent. That makes me happy. It worked well. Get rid of our scraps, and no, I'm not going to edge that. I'm not going to round to those corners. What I'm going to do is stick this in here, just like that, and then you can see it kind of sticks out and gives it a pretty little detail sticking through there. I don't know if you can tell. If you can tell better, maybe the other way. Well, I guess you can't tell, but it is a pretty little detail on it. And then we're gonna do this one, which is 6 by 6. Perfect. So we'll do the same thing for that one. We'll just find a piece and fold it in half. I'm thinking we'll do pink. seems to work. It'll look good. So all I'm going to do is cut it to 6 by 12. Just 6 by 12 like that. Then, oh, looks like I need to replace my blade. And put this in here and score it at 6 and fold it in half. Just like so. Uh-oh. I forgot a little thing. We don't want it to be exactly 6 because then it won't slide in well. So we'll just cut 1/8 of an inch off and hope that that will help. We'll just hope that's enough. To allow it to slide in there. So before we punch it, let's check. Just want to make sure. Okay, we need to cut just a little bit more off. Perfect. That should work now. There we go. Now we will adhere it together. I know it seems weird to put the adhesive down where the fold is, but it'll help it stay together better. And help it look like it's not folded, but rather just maybe one piece of paper. Okay. Then we're going to go ahead and punch this again. Okay. Takes a little longer to come up because of the adhesive. I think it's making it stick. Ugh. Sorry it's so loud. It's not very easy to punch. Oops. Just one more. There we go. Now we have that done. And now, because we use the decorative edge there, we really should use it somewhere else. So I think I'll use it when I cut some of these pages. But, there we go. We now have all of the different ones done, all the single ones. Now, when we come back for the, actually, I said that there would only be 2 more, but there's going to be 3 more, because now we'll come back and we'll work on these ones, because they'll all be the same, because it's the same page, so we want to keep a little bit of uniform to them. So, we'll work on those ones on the next video. Alright?